time for the little bit. Yeah. Who has been entered into the shallow walls of the Hall of Shame this week? Who has been crowned the captain of coonery this week? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Wanksta of the Week. Now, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind before we get into today's Wanksta that we are doing our Cool Radio year-end special, the 4th annual edition of that. That will be coming up later in December. And if you have been paying attention to my Facebook feed in particular, we have been counting down the top Wankstas of the year from January up until now. I just posted the one for March, so make sure you go comment on that and let me know who you thought was the Wanksta, the top Wanksta for March. We're going to keep it going up until December 16th is where I'm marking our dates for the year-end special, so make sure you keep it locked for that. But nonetheless, it's time to get into tonight's Wanksta of the Week. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wanksta of the Week goes over to none other than Mr. Kardashian himself, Kanye West. Now...
What did he do now?
Right? Jeez, what hasn't he done?
Oh my God.
I think this is probably like the 5th or the 6th time I've given him the Wanksta. I can't remember. I've lost count. If you get the Wanksta more than 3 times, I lose count. But nonetheless, he got the Wanksta because he was in a concert and he did 2 things. First and foremost, he said that if he had voted, he would have voted for Trump, which I'm not surprised at. But the second thing that he said, which made me want to give him the Wanksta, is that he said black people need to stop worrying about racism.
What?
Now, let me get into how all this started. So, he was on his St. Pablo tour, and he stopped at the SAP Center in San Jose for the tour. So, he's performing his set, and then he basically opened up with yet another long-winded rant slash speech slash diatribe of whatever, a soliloquy of sorts. And then he stated that had he voted, it would have been for Trump. So, he said this during his speech, and I quote, "I told you all I didn't vote, right? But if I would have voted, I would have voted for Trump." Now, interestingly enough, he met a combination of cheers and jeers. So people were kind of booing him when he said that, but then people were just kind of like, I think I should be clapping for this. I don't know. So he said that, and him saying that doesn't surprise me because a lot of black celebrities tend to vote on the right-wing side of things because they want to pay less in taxes, so whatever. I'm not going to give him the Wanksta for that. I'm mainly giving him the Wanksta because after he said that he would have voted for Trump if he had voted, he basically said that, and I can't remember exactly what he said because there's no quote for me to read off of, but he basically said how black people need to stop worrying about racism. And this is my thing right here. And going back to my point about rich black people in America, I feel like the moment some black people, not all, but some black people, the moment they get rich and they're in America, they forget about racism. They forget it even exists because they feel as though now that they're in a higher tax bracket, that money makes everything all right for them. People start treating them differently. They treat them better more because of the value that they bring rather than the person that they are. And some black people who are rich, they don't understand that. And Kanye West is obviously no exception to that. Racism is not something that you can just simply forget, especially when you live in America, because the fact of the matter is America was founded on racism. It's one of the basic principles of racism. When black people are getting shot at an all-time rate, like it's the Hunger Games or the Purge, and it's usually the powers that be that are doing it towards black people, you can't help but think that racism has a part to play in it, which is obviously the case. And it's disappointing to hear from Kanye West because of the fact that Kanye is from Chicago, a city that is riddled in controversy when it comes to gun violence, especially with the way that their police officers treat black individuals because of the preconceived notion of what they might be affiliated with. Now, this is also disappointing to hear from Kanye West because Kanye has been so politically enamored in a lot of his content way back ever since the College Dropout. We all remember that emphatic and inspirational punchline when the man said in a live telecast beside a distraught Michael Myers, "George Bush don't care about black people." Where is that Kanye? That Kanye has been on the side of a milk carton for at least 4 years now, basically. And we don't have that Kanye anymore, and I don't think we're ever going to get that Kanye. So, to him to say that black people should stop worrying about racism, here's the thing. How about some white people, not all, but some, stop committing acts of racism, then maybe black people might turn a blind eye to it. And that is just a huge might and a maybe altogether in one. At the end of the day, you can't tell the people who are oppressed to forget about the oppression. You need to tell the oppressors to stop the oppression so the oppressed can put the oppression behind them.
Amen.
That's what needs to happen. And until you recognize that, Mr. Kardashian, you are once again getting this wankster. Do you deserve it? Yes, you do. And I'm going to drop it on you one more time. For all the Kanye fans, for all the former Kanye fans, and for all the Kardashian fans. Just like this.